You know that feeling, right? Where it feels like your brain just has way too many tabs open and you can't find the off switch. It's overwhelming. But what if I told you the secret to finding that switch wasn't in some app, but it's actually built right into your own biology? What if you could learn to literally hack your own nervous system to find calm whenever you need it? Well, let's dive in. Does this sound familiar? You are completely exhausted, but your mind is just racing. You're desperate to chill out, but your body is still buzzing from all the day's stress. If you're nodding along right now, you are so not alone. This whole wired and tired thing, it's a classic sign that your body's internal wiring is just a little bit out of sync. So, here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to pull back the curtain and really understand the science of what's happening in your brain when stress hits. Then, we'll get into why something as simple as a routine can literally rewire your brain for calm. And finally, we're going to build out your personal toolkit, packed with science-backed stuff you can use every day, especially in those moments you really need it. Okay, so to really get a handle on stress, we first have to understand our body's own internal alarm system. It's this ancient setup that's designed for survival, but in our modern world, it can sometimes get stuck in the on position. Think of your nervous system as having two basic modes. You've got this sympathetic system, that's the gas pedal. It revs you up to deal with a threat, floods you with energy, fight or flight. And then you've got the parasympathetic system, that's the brake. It slows everything down and tells your body, hey, you're safe. You can chill out, you can breathe. The real secret to feeling calm is just learning how to consciously hit that brake whenever you need to. So how do we actually get control of that brake? Well, we learn to talk to this incredible piece of our own biology, the vagus nerve. Just look at this thing. It's this massive nerve running all the way from your brain down to your gut. It's basically the superhighway for your rest and digest system. Think of it as the superstar of calm. And the best part? You can actually learn to activate it on demand. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. When this whole system isn't working at its best, we call that low vagal tone, and it shows up in some really familiar ways. I mean, just take a look at these. Do any of them hit a little too close to home? That feeling of being on edge all the time, digestive issues, snapping from 0 to 100. These aren't just feelings. They're actual physiological signs that your body is struggling to hit the brakes. Okay. So if having a wonky system and low vagal tone is the problem, what's the solution? Well, one of the most powerful ways to bring that system back into balance is actually surprisingly simple: predictability. Let's look at how something as basic as a routine can actually rewire your brain to be calmer. This quote from UCLA Health it absolutely nails it. See, our brains are prediction machines. They crave certainty. When your day has a predictable rhythm, your brain's little alarm setter can finally, stand down. It gets rid of that constant low-level anxiety of what's next, and that frees up a huge amount of mental energy. And this slide shows exactly how that rewiring happens. The first time you do something new, the thinking, decision-making part of your brain is doing all the heavy lifting. But as you repeat it, your brain, being smart and efficient, offloads that job to its automatic habit center. It's literally like forging a path through a forest. The first time is tough, but the more you walk it, the easier that path gets, until pretty soon, it's just second nature. And the biological impact of this is it's staggering. Get this. Research shows that by simply having a predictable, structured morning, you can reduce your levels of cortisol, that's your main stress hormone, by up to 50%. Just think about that for a second. That is a massive biological shift, just from adding a little rhythm to the start of your day. This is so crucial, because when we first wake up, our brains aren't fully online yet. It's a real thing called sleep inertia. And get this, our decision-making ability can be at just 51% of its peak. This is exactly why an automatic morning routine is such a game changer. You're saving all that precious willpower for the stuff that actually matters later. You don't have to think, you just flow. All right, Siri is great, but let's get practical. How do we actually do this? Right now, we are going to design a morning routine specifically to fight that sleep inertia and set a calm, focused tone for your entire day. And listen, this doesn't have to be some 2-hour ordeal. As you can see here, it can be incredibly simple. First step, and it's the most critical, consistency. Wake up at the same time. Then, at the 1-minute mark, get natural light on your face. It's the strongest signal to your brain to turn off the sleep hormones. Hydrate. By the 5-minute mark, get a little movement in, release some of those feel-good endorphins. And finally, fuel your brain. That's it. Simple, but biologically, it's profound. Here are a few key habits you can mix and match to make it your own. Making your bed? That gives you an immediate little win. A minute of gratitude? That shifts your brain into a positive gear. But here is the big one, the one that makes the biggest difference. Please, I am begging you, keep your phone out of reach for at least the first 15 to 30 minutes. Don't let the very first thing your brain does be to mainline other people's emergencies. Let your brain set the tone. Okay, so a morning routine is a fantastic foundation, but let's be real, stress doesn't wait for a convenient time to show up, does it? So what do you do when anxiety spikes at 2 in the afternoon? For that, we need an in-the-moment toolkit. These are simple physiological hacks to directly hit that vagus nerve and slam the brakes on stress fast. First up is probably the most powerful tool you have, and it is always with you: your breath. Specifically, the 4-7-8 breath. You inhale for 4, you hold for 7, and you exhale for 8. Now, the secret sauce here, it's all about that long exhale. That extended exhale sends a direct signal to your vagus nerve, physically telling your body, hey, we're safe, we can calm down now. Need an even faster reset? Just go to the sink. Splashing cold water on your face triggers this primal, powerful response called the diving reflex. It's an ancient survival thing that instantly slows your heart rate to save oxygen, like you're diving underwater. And the amazing side effect is that it acts like an emergency brake for your nervous system. You don't need a full-on ice bath. Just 30 seconds of cold water is enough to do the trick. Okay, this last one might feel a little silly at first, but I promise you it works wonders. Just humming. Your vagus nerve is physically connected to your vocal cords, so when you hum, the vibrations directly stimulate it. Go ahead, try it. The key is to do a low-pitched hum that you can feel vibrating deep in your chest. It's a surprisingly powerful and really soothing way to find your calm. Okay, we have our morning routine. We have our in-the-moment tools. Now for the final and maybe most important piece. How do we actually weave these things into our lives to build lasting resilience? You know, how do we make a state of calm our new default setting? So how do we make these things stick? We use a genius technique from the book Atomic Habits called habit stacking. The idea is so simple. Instead of relying on willpower to start a new habit, you just link it to a habit you already do automatically. For example, after I pour my morning coffee, I will do 1 minute of 4-7-8 breathing. The coffee is the trigger. You're basically using the momentum of an old habit to launch the new one. It makes it almost effortless. But what if a new habit still feels too big? I get it. That's where the 2-minute rule comes in. Whatever the new habit is, meditation, journaling, stretching, just scale it down so it takes less than 2 minutes. The goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is just to show up. You have to master the art of just showing up first. Make it so ridiculously easy to start that you just can't say no. And finally, we can't talk about building resilience without talking about exercise. But I want you to reframe how you think about it. I want you to see exercise as a stress dress rehearsal. A tough workout temporarily raises your cortisol in a controlled way. And what this does is it teaches your body's stress system how to handle pressure and, more importantly, how to recover from it. Over time, this actually lowers your baseline stress levels. Pretty cool, right? And being consistent doesn't mean you have to punish yourself at the gym 7 days a week, not at all. This slide just shows one example of what a balanced, sustainable week could look like. You've got some cardio, some strength work, and, crucially, you have rest. The main takeaway here is this: the best exercise is the one you'll actually do. Find something you enjoy, and you'll never have to rely on motivation again. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the vagus nerve all the way to habit stacking, but real change doesn't happen from just knowing stuff, it happens from doing stuff. So let's bring it all back to this one simple question. Don't try to change your whole life overnight. Just ask yourself, looking at everything we talked about, what is the one small thing you can commit to doing tomorrow to start hacking your biology and taking back your calm?